Okay, so in order to log on to Capital IQ, first you are going to want to open up Firefox. Once you do that, just type in capitaliq.com. Don't make any errors like I am right now. And once you're in, you simply use the username and password that's given to you. If it's currently the one that I'm using, keep in mind that there is no space between UOIT and 01. That may cause some issues when you log in. And if you did it successfully, you'll come up to this screen. So finally, we have the company section. And that's if you're looking for a specific company and more information on that company. So for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to look at Microsoft. Please keep in mind that in most cases it's better to use your symbol ticker as opposed to just the company, because the company may have a lot of subsidiaries and those subsidiaries may pop up. And as a result, you may be looking at a different tear sheet for a subsidiary of Microsoft, but not Microsoft as a whole. Once you get your search done, you'll see that it opens up the tear sheet, which is essentially a basic description of the company, some of its key ratios and data, as well as a time series chart of its stock price, as well as some of the professionals and board members that are part of the company, if you're looking more specifically in the governance area. On the left-hand side, there are different subsections for different types of data that you might be looking for Microsoft Corporation. As you can see, it's categorized into different categories. For example, again, if you want to click on people for more of a governance, it'll give you a more in-depth description of each of the specific individuals and anything you want to look for in that area. If you want to look for things such as financial statements and financial ratios, you can go to the financial evaluation section, the financials and valuation section. And as you can see, it'll bring up a very detailed financial statement of any of the types that you want, that you can see on this bar. From there, you can either change the way it looks based off how Capital IQ presents it or how it was originally presented by the company. And as well, you can also change the order of how it's displayed from latest on the right to latest on the left. Finally, you can also change the time frame by clicking on the slider. And as you can see, it will adjust to however many fiscal periods that you decide to choose. You can click Enable Freeze Panes to make sure that things stay in place if you are using a large subset of data when you're analyzing the data. Again, you can go into ratios or any of these other tabs to look for any type of information that you're looking for. It'll be extremely detailed and it'll have specifically breakdowns of what you're looking for. So for example, current ratio and quick ratio. Additionally, if you want to download this data, you can simply click download this page. It's going to open up a download prompt. From there, you can save the file. And once it's done downloading, you can simply open it up on your Excel program. As you can see, all the data has been neatly downloaded, and you can configure the data to meet any of the specific needs that you personally have. Finally, if you also want, you can click on Estimates from Capital IQ, which is an aggregated analyst estimates of how the company might perform in the future. This might be informative if you're doing a research report, in which case you might want to use these as guidelines to see whether or not your calculations are comparable to those of analysts in the field right now. There's also the News, Events, and Filings tab. From there, you can look at different types of events that the company has been a part of. And on the right-hand side, you'll notice that it will have different event descriptions for what's happening, whether or not it's a conference or they're telling you a dividend date is coming up in this example. Again, from any of these tabs, on the top left-hand side, you can click the Export button. It'll open up an Excel download prompt, and from there you can open it up in Excel to configure to your liking. As you can see, all the data that was shown on the screen has been aggregated into this Excel file for you to configure. As you can see on the top left function, there are a lot of different sub areas for different things that you're looking for in companies. So the first thing we're going to look at is screening. And as you can see here, there's a lot of different types of screening that you can do. The one that is the most comprehensive and the one that we'll be looking at today is company screening. Once you click on that, you'll see a lot of different subsets of information that you can screen for in potential companies. The most valuable ones are usually the ones to the left, as they're more broad and relevant. However, if you're looking for something very specific, you can look at some of these sections on the right-hand side. First, we have to understand what we're trying to look for. Usually, a good place to start is exchanges. From here, as you can see, it'll give you a list of different exchanges that you can choose from. If you want to be very specific, you can choose an individual exchange. So for this case, we can look at something like the Toronto Stock Exchange, and then you want to click on this button to add it to the criteria. However, if you also want, they do have options such as all major exchanges if you want a more broad search. Once you're finished selecting the exchange, you click Add Criteria, and what it'll do is it'll generate the amount of hits that you have right here on the right-hand side. Additionally, if you felt like you've made an error, you can click the Edit button. It'll pop up the same screen that you just closed, and from there you can make any adjustments that you want. If you want to remove a selected item, you can simply click the exchange and click the Remove button. And after that, you hit Update. So from there, you can see that we have 1,473 results. You can look at them from the right-hand panel to find the one that you're exactly looking for. However, if you want, you can be more detailed and you can continue to look further by screening more criteria in the criteria section. So for example, we can look up valuation of the company. And from here, you can look at multiple types of valuation methods to fit your need. In this instance, we'll look at something very basic, the total enterprise value, and you can simply put in however much you want it to be over. For the sake of this example, we're going to put 100, and please note that this denotes 100 million as denoted by the value here, beside value. And from there, you can also select a time frame, so you can choose any particular date that you're looking for. So from there, again, you add criteria. As you can see, you have to select a valid date, so you want to make sure that these functions are filled in correctly. So once we've hit March 6, you'll get a pop-up screen, and you'll notice that the number decreases because you're filtering out more information. Again, once you're done with what you're looking for, you can simply click View Results to expand that current list that was on the right-hand side, and I'll give you a complete set of all the companies that fit that criteria. And from there, it will fill in on the right-hand side all the criteria that you're looking for and the value for that specific company. Say, for example, we were looking for a TransCanada Corporation. We would now click that, and it'll take us to a new tab into the company section, which will give you more information on the company itself. So that is it for the company screening tutorial. As you can see here, we have the marketing section for S&P Capital IQ. It's broken up into 4 different categories. The first one being market analysis, commodities, and interest rates, as well as watch lists. First, we'll go over to the commodity section of the market screening section. So when you click on Overview, you get a high-level overview of all the different commodities, as well as the different unit rates, the 52-week high and low, as well as any percentage change, volume, and the current exchange that they are being traded in. This would be good if you are looking into any commodities type of trading for any of your relevant projects. All of these are very similar compared to the overview, so it's very simple in that regard. Next, we'll be looking at interest rates. As you can see here, there's a lot of different interest rates for different countries around the world. It has the 10-year debt rate for multiple countries, as well as different trend lines for different interest rates over the course of a period of time. If you click on government debt, you can see different countries' 10-year rates. You can use this as your risk-free rate if you're doing any CAPM calculations to figure out the risk-free rate that you need for your calculations. Additionally, you have other interest rates that we will not be covering, but it does include the interbank LIBOR rate, as well as major rates. If you go into the industry section, you'll see different types of industries as well as their current valuations and growth or stunts in recent days. You can see the market size as well as the transactional types for each of the industries that are broken down. And as well, you can go into geography to sort this by geographical location. So as you can see here, the S&P 500 is the American index match, and as well they have other index matches for other countries. You can also see currency conversion rates, as well as how well they're doing, and as well you can see total economic market caps across all the different continents as well as countries. Finally, you can also go to M&A, and you can see any major recent transitions of target companies that have been recently bought, who has purchased the company, as well as the size of the transaction deal. Additionally, it gives you a list of the most recent largest acquisitions and mergers in the last 12 months, and it gives you a bit of a breakdown of the M&A industry that has also happened again in the last 12 months. So now if we go to the charting, you can look at time series data and compare it to any other equity or index. So once charting is brought up, you can see that there's going to be a blank chart in the background. What you do is you go to Entity, click and type in whatever company you want to look for. For this instance, we can look at the Barrick Gold Corporation, and we just click Add to Chart. And from there, you'll see the time series data appears, and you can also add any other quick metric indicator that you want to compare it to the data. If you want to add anything else to the chart, what you can do is by deleting this and then clicking the S&P 500, which I typed in previously, you can add to the chart, and what it'll do is it'll create another line in the chart, so you can compare both of these companies, or you can compare companies to indexes. From there, you can also click on any of these time indicators to dictate a different length of time that you're looking for. So if you want to look for 3 months, you simply click on 3 months. If you want to click on 10 years, you can click on 10 years, and that will reflect the data. From there, you can also look at the bottom for a quick chart summary, indicating things such as the high, low, and average price, the percentage change, and the current price. If you want to export this data to Excel, simply click Export Chart to Excel, and what it'll do is it will bring up a prompt, which is here, and then you click Download. From there, you save the file, and you can open it up from your Mozilla Firefox Downloads tab. And as you can see, the data is clearly displayed along with the appropriate indicators on the X and Y axis, along with a legend, and it will also display all the data for you to reconfigure to your choosing. And finally, there's an attribute section if you deem that necessary.